Hi, my name is Dr. Michelle Maidenberg. I'm here with Dr. Catherine Perlman. She's another friend who moved to California, and a sad loss, but so excited to be with her. And she's going to talk to us about, children's behavior. She's a family coach, and I know her for many years, and I'm excited to have her here. So, Catherine, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Dr. Catherine Perlman. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and the founder of the Family Coach, and I've made it my mission to help people enjoy parenting more.
Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about, kids, how they're adjusting, during obviously this kind of sheltering in. And now we're also phasing out a little bit. So other things are coming up. But what a lot of parents are sharing with me is that at times they're seeing regressive behavior. Things,
hmm
maybe behaviors that didn't show up in the past that are now resurfacing. So, if you could speak a little bit to that. And then also, going into the summer, and we talked a little bit about this before, relative to our own kids, but many like programs and camps are currently canceled because of going into, the summer and the, caution with kids. So, if you have any thoughts about, how to help kids adjust and what they might be going through and what the loss will be for them and, anything related to that would be also really, really helpful.
Sure. So, when we think about behavior, we have to realize that kids are responding to environments. And right now, parents have been on lockdown for many months. Many have lost their jobs. People are stressed about money. They're anxious about a virus and health, and they've seen people around them potentially have gotten sick. So, parents themselves are going through a lot. And so, they are not the same kind of parents they might have been 3 months ago, and kids are recognizing that, and so they respond to a lack of rules or changes in rules or a relaxed environment or busier parents or parents that seem distracted, and they push the limits a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's normal behavior. And then what happens is parents are so exhausted that they don't kind of firm up the rules at that point, and kids are like, oh, I got away with more game time. I'm just going to play in the morning without asking. And then the next thing you know, the parents are like, I can't deal with this. So the kid's playing in the morning without asking. And then the next thing you know, he's staying up later at night. And kids are taking food that they wouldn't normally take on their own. They might be helping themselves to more sweets that they normally would always ask for. Um, People are showering less. They're probably tantruming more when parents are trying to kind of reinforce any of the same rules. So it makes sense that things are a little out of whack, and parents are seeing kids behavior and things that they hadn't been dealing with before. Also, kids often regress when they're trying to deal with something, and so kids are going through a lot. Their lives are turned upside down. Their routine is off. When kids' routine and schedule is off, it comes up in a lot of ways. And also, they miss their friends, they miss their life just as we do. And so that comes out in a lot of unpleasant ways. And sometimes parents react instead of trying to understand, okay, where is this coming from? Why is my child acting out? Why is he regressing? Why is she doing things she previously stopped doing years ago? Like a great example is baby talk.
Mhm.
Kids go into baby talk and you're like a big kid. What are you doing baby talk for? Like, I can't tolerate this, or more whining or complaining, that sort of thing. And so it makes a lot of sense that that's going on. And when parents are feeling less strong themselves, it's just very hard to deal with that behavior. You just kind of let it go, and then it just kind of blossoms.
Yeah. Some of the things that came up with, with my clients is I had a ninth grader, who went and or like went online and had some access to a credit card somehow. And
Mhm.
I think it was $1,800 later when the bill finally,
Wow.
yeah, when the bill finally
Yep.
came, right? And that was something that happened like several years ago. But the kids home idly, like sitting and gaming, and there you go, right? I mean, and then I had another high schooler also who was sneaking out of the house when the parents went to sleep. And
Mhm.
his excuse for it was that he needed some time and space alone. So,
Who could blame him?
yeah, exactly. But, of course, the parents' perspectives were like, you should have asked us or told us you were doing this. It could be kind of
Right.
dangerous. Yeah. So there's all
Right.
different kinds of acting out behavior. And if you
But I
think,
think parents, oh,
sorry,
you go.
Sorry, because we have a little lag. I think if you just look at the behavior itself, you would say that's so disrespectful, right? And it's so inconsiderate. And how could my child do something like that, right? But
Yeah.
if you really, when I was talking to him about it, and I was talking to about like what would lead to him act, to act that way, and when he was
Hmm.
able to really verbalize like how difficult it's been for him, and he feels so
Yeah.
stifled and he doesn't have kind of a space for himself, like the idea of him going outside on his own to get space, it took on a new meaning. It really did.
Yeah. Yeah. The other day, my daughter went for a drive to go nowhere, and she's a new driver. And so it's like, it's still a little nerve wracking, but in my mind, I'm thinking she really needs to get out. And also, it's better for all of us
Mhm.
if that teen gets some small level of normalcy. And I feel like what parents want to do naturally is to react. And if I woke up in the middle of the night, my child wasn't home, I also would be
Mhm.
scared and concerned and angry. But I think parents have to also step back and try and understand what's going on for their kids, because
Mhm.
if not, kids are just going to go underground. They're going to do all kinds of behaviors, but we're just not going to know about them. They're going to be sexting, they're going to be online with their friends, they're going to be ordering credit cards, opening social media profiles that we know nothing about, um, vaping,
Sure.
doing pot, all these things. They're just going to do it without their parents' knowledge. And I'm not saying that parents be like, yeah, all this stuff is great, but they have to kind of meet their kids' needs in some way,
Mhm.
um, and discuss it openly and say, okay, what you did is not okay. You're not allowed to go outside in the night, and it scared me. And that's, we've got to work on this. But I understand why you did it. Let's figure out a way for you to get something that you need that's also feel safe for me. Maybe you
Yeah.
have a friend over in the yard, and that we hadn't previously done, or we allow you to go out at night, or to an outdoor restaurant with a friend, or whatever's allowed in your area, whatever a parent feels comfortable with. But I think realizing, one, that kids are struggling and their behavior is a result of this crazy time, and that it's not about us or them disrespecting us or anything like that, and then trying to find some solutions. The problem is a lot of times there aren't good enough solutions for kids.
Yeah.
They just don't like what the real situation is, and they're going to be angry,
Mhm.
and we have to leave space for that. We have to let kids yell and get mad and slam their door and cry and tell us to get out of their room. Okay, you are showing me that you're upset and you need space, and that's valid. I feel the same way.
Yeah. And it's, if, I'm listening to you, and it's like, it's a desperation almost. It comes from like such a desperate place, it's like survival of the fittest. Like, I just have to get this, need met, you know?
Yeah. And
Mhm.
also, especially for older kids, this is a time in their life where they're developmentally,
Mhm.
their brain is outside of the house. It's with their friends, and it's important for them to move independently away from their parents, develop their own skills, develop their own way of being in this world, and that's just shut down. But that need is still there, and it's developmentally, it's a problem. I was thinking, if this were me in high school, stuck in my apartment, with my family in New York City, I would be very angry and miserable, and I don't know what I would do. So I really, really get it. And I think for a lot of times for kids to just at least hear the empathy, to at least hear, it is okay that you feel this way. It's okay that you're very angry. I remember when things started to be canceled, and graduations and proms and things like that, and parents would be upset for their kids, and there were always some parents that were like, you know what, we could be at war, or at least you have food on the table. And it was like, that is not honoring a true sadness of something that is lost. Like, you can be really respectful and get that you are still lucky in life, but also having a hard time, that you don't have to be like, oh, someone else is always worse. You can still honor what's going on in your own life. And parents have to be there for their kids and let them be angry and sad and mad and all these things, and not try and stifle it, because it's not going to go away. It's just going to either go underground or get worse. We have to allow for that.
Yeah. And I'm also going to say, in addition, that it negatively affects the relationship with their child,
100%.
which I think is so critical, right? Because, sometimes even before this, the relationship might have been a little rocky, right?
Right.
So people are also going into this in all different like kind of configurations of relationships,
Right.
and we also have to kind of recognize that too, you
Well,
know.
and some of that too, we're in survival mode. Like,
Yep.
if you didn't have a great relationship with your partner or with your kids before this happened, you know, chances are things are not getting better or they might be getting worse. And we have to survive. It's
Mhm.
almost like when you have a newborn, you have a brand new baby, you're in survival mode. You're not making the best meals of your life. You don't look the best, you're just surviving. And that's kind of where we are now. But when we get out of this, we're going to have to really work hard to reestablish some of our normalcy, but also accept that right now is not normal. So we're going to have to let the kid be in their room all day if that makes them happy. Maybe do meals a little differently than you normally did. I had a mom, she was very upset. Her kid never talks to her. He's in his room all the time. What should she do? She's tried this, all these things, and they all make him go run further away. And I said, back up, don't do anything. Let him come to you, meet him where he is, and he'll show up eventually when he doesn't feel like you're digging so deeply or trying to hold on so tight. So it's okay to be in a little bit of a survival mode and realize this is just awful. We didn't have good relations before. It's not good now. Let's just get through it. Let's just,
Mhm.
not address anything, stay out of people's way, give people like a long leash to kind of be cranky and moody and unpleasant.
Yeah.
And then say it's a little bit the situation and kind of worry about dealing with some of that later.
Yeah. I love that metaphor that you gave. That was so perfect. um, so just transitioning into the summertime, right? Because again, more loss, and like again, kids having to be, especially this, with the nice weather and waiting their whole entire year, academic year, for the summer to come and to be so
Mm-hmm.
excited about it. What a big, huge letdown it is, and we were talking before about what our kids' plans were before,
Yeah.
and now, the loss that they experience, and it's pretty tremendous for all of them.
Yeah, for all of them and for all of us,
Yeah.
as parents,
Yes.
we have plans for our kids. And I think the loss of plans and the loss of future is really unsettling.
Mhm.
The not knowing, well, when is this going to be changed? And is there going to be camp? Oh, camp is canceled. Well, maybe the other thing is not canceled. Oh, that's canceled too. Well, maybe school will be okay in the fall. Oh, actually, it's probably not. So, it's this constant moving the end point and this loss of future, of plans, of not knowing. And it's just one loss on top of another loss. And well, at least we have our bar mitzvah or our birthday, or at least we're going to grandma's for her anniversary. All of those things are gone.
Yeah.
And that just can lead to hopelessness. We have to find a way to still find meaning for our kids and for ourselves while we're also losing all these things.
Yeah. The metaphor that I think about is like when you're in a car and you keep on hitting on the brake, and you kind of jolt forward and, it shakes up your whole body.
Yeah.
It's sort of like that. And I have to say this because I think sometimes as parents we feel guilty about owning this, but it also ruined our plans, So,
Mm-hmm.
like, for example, I had two kids that were supposed to go away to sleepaway camp, and my older and my two older ones also had plans. So I was going to have a little bit of freedom this summer,
Yeah.
for a couple of weeks. I was looking forward to that,
Yeah.
or again, having to cancel vacation or whatever the case is. So I think everyone's experiencing on a different level, but that's also frustrating as well. Like the concern, like I have to work. So what could I possibly do to entertain my kids because I have to work? So there's
Right.
so many questions. There's so many like, kind of thoughts or anxieties that come up as parents too.
Right. And I mean, really, the solution for many is just more screen time, whether it's video games, whether it's, Netflix, or even an online class. It's still sitting in front of a computer
Mm-hmm.
or an iPad or whatever all day. But what else is the alternative? In a lot of places, it's not safe to go out. There's nothing open, or if it's open, it's, different. It's for takeout, or it's,
Right.
mask only, and it's in and out. And, it's,
Well, and even for kids, right? Like how much could they, like it's different if you're sitting like in someone's house and you're hanging out and watching a movie and then whatever, right? But like if you're social distancing, like how much time could you spend with your friend, like just hanging out and talking about nothing because nothing actually happened?
Right. I mean, the lack of things to talk about. I mean, I find this even with my own parents. But you know, that's the thing. I mean, the part of it is that they want to be with their friends. They're on there with their friends doing Netflix, watching a movie with them. They're on with their friends playing video games. So it's like, I want to cut that off. I don't want my kids in front of screens all day. But on the other hand, that is literally the only thing that they have. So as parents, it's like managing, uh, how good is this screen time, you know, how fruitful is it, how important is it, and then also finding slots in the day where there are other things happening, you know, whether it's
Mhm.
reading or crafts or family time or game time or whatever it is. But I think part of the problem is parents are done.
Yeah.
They have no gas left
Yeah.
to um, entertain their children or to even have quality time, and you know,
Mhm.
they feel guilty and they feel like bad parents, and the other, but in the other moment they're like, I literally cannot do more. I cannot make another meal, I cannot entertain another child, I cannot listen to them talking. You
Mhm.
know, it's a struggle. It's a
Yeah.
daily struggle, and the thought of doing this for months more is demoralizing. You know, it's hard. Everybody has to find a way to, you know, as you said earlier, make meaning, find survival techniques, and find what works for their family, you know, with keeping some sanity.
Thank you so much. That was so, so helpful.
Sure.
And, great tips. Any last thing, that you want to leave the audience with that could be helpful in terms of surviving?
Well, I always say give
Yeah.
yourself a break, you know,
Okay.
give yourself the opportunity to view yourself as you would view one of your friends or loved ones, and you would give them uh, a lot of latitude
Mhm.
in how they were handling things, and you should do the same for yourself.
Yeah. Compassion, a lot of compassion,
Yeah,
self-compassion, right?
right. That's the harder one.
Yes. So thank you so much. And of course, we wish, everyone's family is safe and healthy through all of this.
Of course.